do you look at Mexico as kind of like your Mecca to a certain extent, or are you so Southern California oriented that that's not really your viewpoint on it?
I love my history and where I come from, right? Like I've visited the temples from El Salvador because my mother was Salvadoran, and the temples in Mexico because my dad's Mexican. But I'm proud of where I'm from. I'm an American. I'm from Southern California, and I'm proud as fuck of where my people come from and my history and all that. But at the end of the day, I've been to those countries, the poorest parts of them, so I see how those countries fail their own people. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard for me to glorify a country that has their own people running to us for help, if it makes sense to you, right? Like countries and governments that victimize their people to an extent of where they're willing to die to get to another land. They're fleeing that land, you know?
What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Gunplay God. I'm back with another video. If y'all like to be a part of the community, please join on Reddit, please join on Discord. It'll be a link down in the description below. Now, have y'all seen this interview with Bozo on No Jumper? He was over here talking to Adam22, and this guy has basically been saying what I've been speaking for years. But I guess, you know, when I talk, you know, like I guess I use words that trigger people, and, you know, people don't get the context of what I'm saying. A lot of Hispanics always like to call me racist, be like, oh, why are you being so divisive? It's black and brown pride homes. And then, you know, they're always over here trying to make excuses on why they should be saying the N-word and why they got the right to say the N-word and all this other nonsense, right? But I'm going to let Bozo speak. I'm going to let another man who's from the culture, so y'all have no excuses about me saying triggering words or any of that nonsense in this video. Like, this dude right here is dropping straight gems during this whole damn video. And I wish and I hope that y'all, you know, actually get something from this and learn something from this video, all right?
At the end of the day, dog, when you think California, Southern California is where the Chicano culture really exists. For the most part, upstate, it's been lost, you know what I mean? To a certain extent, from their style, their lingo, to the way they carry themselves, to even the way they talk. Like, I know you talking to me is different than you talking to a guy from up north. You know what I'm saying? What do you call it? Ebonics wise, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
You feel like they act and behave like black people?
yes, sir. I don't think, I know they do. It's not, I mean,
They're more influenced
I'm not making
by
this
that.
up. Yes,
Whereas
sir.
we're like right near Mexico, so it's a different vibe. Okay, that's interesting.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, and hey, I thank God I was born on this side, you know what I mean? Because I'm proud of where I'm from, where my people come from. I'm proud of the way we carry ourselves, and I'm proud of our beliefs, you know what I mean?
So during this interview, Bozo brings up how Northern Hispanics have lost their culture and have been trying to cosplay as other cultures. For example, them using the N-word repeatedly, the way that they rap, their style, you know, the way that they dress, everything, you know, they're moving away from their Chicano culture, from the Southsiders, and they have been doing everything to distance themselves from their Chicano culture. And Bozo was just calling this out throughout the whole interview, and I honestly respect this man for this.
Push forward now. Like, think about the Southsiders are saying the N-word heavy now.
You're not
You know,
a fan of that?
You know what? I've grown to like maybe not become a fan of it, but understand it.
Because like Lefty says that he doesn't say it, but then you'll see him on certain interviews where he slips and lets it out.
Well, because the thing is this, like, you know, we like, my generation is the generation before Lefties, right? So you gotta understand, at the house parties, that's all we played. You know, any event, we were bumping nothing but hip hop. So I get it that we infused that in them so heavily, right? And they embraced it so much because of the hip hop culture, right? But I mean, I don't know. I think that, you know, as a man, right? I think that when you represent a certain culture, you got to do it right, you know? But like I said, as a man, I can't speak like if I was young, 20, and you know, when you're young, you give a fuck about, you don't think that deep into shit. You just want to do what's popping.
Like, a lot of people think that I'm just over here consistently being disrespectful towards the Hispanic community by calling this stuff out, or, you know, that like I'm trolling the Hispanic community or something like that. But I'm just over here calling out the real information that needs to be brought to the light. And, you know, I respect all Hispanics who actually stick to their culture, you know, actually respect their native heritage, and, you know, aren't out here trying to cosplay as another culture, you know, by presenting themselves in a certain way.
We don't like indigenous people. We think of indigenous people as inferior. So that's why when we want to insult each other, we say pinches Oaxaquitas. Dude, that crushed me so bad when I learned how hateful we are towards our indigenous root.
Like, I don't respect any culture that does that goes around and cosplay as somebody else. Like, that stuff is extremely cringe. And, you know, I can't stand it when Hispanics do it either. That's why I consistently call this BS out. You know, them always going around saying the N-word, you know, trying to act black when they know damn well that they're not black, bro. Like, you're Hispanic. Be proud of who you are.
You know, when you say like, do you like the N-word? I've said it openly that I don't like the homies saying that, and they're offended by me saying that. And it's like, don't get offended, dog. Look into why I'm saying what I'm saying. You know, we're trying to preserve our culture, and you're just trying to kill it. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to rep for somebody else that don't give a flying fuck about you. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's like, you know, the message doesn't have to be comfortable, but it is necessary, you know? And we got to speak on it, you know?
Yeah, that is a weird one because it's like you can totally understand where they're coming from. But then at the same time, you know, like I'm from a place that had like a pretty decent percentage of Puerto Ricans growing up and Dominicans. And to me, it wasn't even until I was much older that I even considered that they shouldn't say that or that they would be looked down upon for saying that.
Yeah.
Because even where I grew up, like a lot of white kids said it too, just because it was just considered normal. And then I moved to New York City, and absolutely every fucking person I was around in New York City riding BMX bikes and stuff, just hanging out with people that were like chilling on the street all day. I mean, they were all fucking saying it. And it's really like now, the past few years, that I see a lot of black people really speaking out against like Hispanic people saying it.
Well, they
like
should.
That. Yeah.
They should be mad as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Because what's happening is this, dog, that they're exploiting their culture. You know what I mean? Like, for whatever it's worth, that N-word is like a golden token for them in music and in entertainment. You know, it gives validity to who they're saying it to. You know what I mean? It says that you've been through the struggles of a black person. You know, that's what it's saying. When somebody's calling you the N-word, they're saying that you've been through the struggles of a black person, right? So you have a connection right away. And it's like, come on, you got dudes that don't grow up around none of them type of people shooting that word around like it's cool. Which I get it. Like I said, it's the music and all that shit. But if we're gonna dig deep down into the importance of that word, it's like, then we got to stop. You know what I mean? Because that's lack of respect for that community.
But sadly, as you can see, a lot of these people aren't proud of who they are. You know, they rather cosplay as another culture and, you know, try to bite off of somebody else's style. But that stuff just isn't respected whatsoever. And this is why I troll a lot of people in the comment section so much. Like, especially when they ask, oh, what do you mean by black people are the culture? Exactly what Adam 22 is saying right here.
I know, like, if I was a white guy that like cared about preserving white culture, I would be forced to look at all the white rappers and be like, oh, y'all have clearly like fallen under the spell of African Americans because, and they know that. They talk about that all the time. You see black people on Twitter talking about how they fucking have shaped the entire culture and shit, and they got a good point. You can imagine that for like a young 18-year-old Mexican rapper that like so much of his influences have come from that. And there have, even like when you look at Shoreline Mafia,
hell yeah, exactly.
They fucking blew up. Two of the guys in the group at the time were black. They're doing all kinds of songs with black rappers and stuff. They definitely are like putting on for like a current generation of what like a Mexican young person in LA is like. But I'm guessing that somebody like you also kind of looks at it and is like, there's like a little something that might have been lost.
In a lot of cultures, not just in America, but worldwide, it seems like a lot of other people tend to want to simulate the Black American experience. And you can see this in their music, their food, their style, the way that they carry themselves, everything that they do. And all Bozo is saying right here is just preserve and be proud of who you are. You know, you should be proud of the person that you are. Like, why are you over here trying to simulate somebody else's culture? And this is where a lot of people tend to get mad at me when I say that black people are the culture, because we literally are. Everybody simulates what we do. And if I'm saying something wrong, please let me know down in the comments below. And don't just get triggered by the words that I'm saying once again. Listen to the context of what I'm saying. Like, what am I saying wrong when I say that black people in America are the culture? When every other culture just simulates everything that we do. Like, what am I saying wrong here? But I just really appreciate Bozo for being a real man and, you know, coming out and speaking from his experience about what he's been seeing in his own community and not being afraid to call it out, you know, not being afraid to be called a coconut or whatever type of derogatory terms that y'all have for each other whenever somebody speaks the truth about their culture. The only thing that I didn't like that he said during this interview was when he was talking about the Native American experience, about how, you know, black people came over here on slave ships and whatnot, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy. I from having conversations with Tariq Nasheed, I realized how they try to basically take the different minority groups in America and condense them all down to people of color.
Yes.
And that is like a very silly thing to do from my perspective, because it's like the struggle of the Hispanic people, the Mexicans in America versus the struggle of black people is like completely
way different.
They don't necessarily have the same wants or aims in society.
Well, we're indigenous at the end of the day. So we come from that indigenous history, that backlash, that we suffer. So yeah, it's way different. Like, yeah, we weren't necessarily on slave ships, but we were slaughtered. You know what I'm saying, out here, and we got robbed for our land. You know what I mean? So
talking about the struggles and stuff that we go through, like, yeah, there's completely different experiences between the Hispanic and the black culture. But not all black people came over here on ships. Like, I want to get that out of y'all's heads right now. Every dark-skinned person did not come over here on ships. Like, that is just an asinine and uneducated response to say. Like, just get that out of your head. Like, there were a lot of black indigenous people here, dark-skinned people here.
So I'm like you guys. I celebrate American history, which is our history, every month out the year. And I hope that for parents and kids that go home, now we have the internet, now we have tools in our hand. And no, you aren't being taught Black American history in schools, but now we can still go out and find that history. It's not like when we grew up and maybe it was buried someplace in the encyclopedia. All you gotta do is go type in some words and you can get it right now and understand where you come from and how special you are.
Can I just end with this one thing? These four brothers sitting here, we didn't all come from Africa. And there was a country before 1492. And our history goes way beyond 1492. So you can't start us at 1492. We were always here.
That's history only from us players. No, we love you guys. Happy American History Month. We're back with some more players.
Don't even use the term black. Just dark-skinned people. There were already dark-skinned people here, just like in the rest of the world. The indigenous people tended to be dark-skinned. You didn't have any yellow-bone white folks out here being in the sun getting burnt. A lot of these people were in caves and in places where, they can protect their skin or whatnot. But for the most part, a lot of these indigenous people were dark-skinned people. And this is not just in America, this is around the whole world. So people thinking that dark-skinned people came over here on slave ships, that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Black Lives Matter has nothing to do with the original Black American Indians. Black Lives Matter is a propaganda to keep blacks thinking that they're African Americans that came on slave ships. We already know we are waking our people up to let them know that we are the American indigenous Indians. Black Lives Matter do not represent our people. We do. Jesse Jackson do not represent our people. Barack Obama do not represent our people. We're not African Americans. We're indigenous. Our African American is Obama. Why? Because his mother's European and his father's Kenyan. That's an African American. A real Indian, American Indian is me. Both of my parents are American Indians, not from Africa.
Niggas know black people don't crack. Like, black don't crack. Black don't crack.
Right.
Yeah, what's it consistent? Well, indigenous don't crack. The natives don't crack. The natives don't crack. You can see a native and he could be 90 years old and still look at 50. I'm talking for the natives.
Yeah.
I like when it comes to talking about African Americans, I have no education with that. Period. I'm not even connecting to that no more. Because that's a system. That's like connecting, say, hey, he's a bad guy, don't hang with him. Oh, hey, I'm going to find out for myself. I'm not African American at all. My folks is not from Africa. And a lot of people in this room, folks, ain't from Africa. Might be a couple. But people just don't understand. I ask my girl, like, yo, grandma, what's your background? She like, Redfoot and Blacktail Indian. What? Yeah, my mother and my father, we 100% Indians. That's my other grandma. We got Cherokee in us, and European and Italian, a little Dominican. It's crazy. I'm like, what the fuck? That's why I'm over Africa. Y'all look at me funny. Like, hey, I'm African. Like, you're not, though. Like, you're not. 80% of slaves was already here. It was natives. It's crazy.
80, where you get that number from?
Shit, I just checked the books.
Which book?
Yeah.
I got a whole laptop full of this shit.
Yeah?
Yeah, just for me reading. It's not a solid book like, hey, there's only 1,000 slaves came here. And nah, nigga, you gotta read. You have to literally read. Like, I'm so deep into it, I don't think about a slave ship. I think about, what was a slave ship called? Jesus. What the fuck was the slave ship called that Christopher Columbus was on? Who funded that slave ship? Who paid for that boat? Like, what was these folks' race? What was their background?
People don't understand. Black people did not just come from Africa. Black people were already in the States. And people got to do their history to understand black people were already in the States.
So when people try to correlate dark-skinned people being from Africa, just know that that's an idiotic statement. I mean, Elon Musk is African-American. Obama is African-American. I'm not African-American whatsoever. I'm just American, and I just always find it crazy whenever they try to tie in dark-skinned people being on slave ships coming from Africa. Like, no, there are already people here in America, the indigenous, and that's the people that I'm talking about. But y'all, please let me know how y'all feel about this in the comments down below. I would love to hear y'all's thoughts. Do y'all think that Hispanics should be running around cosplaying as other cultures, or do y'all think that they should be proud of their heritage? I would love to hear y'all thoughts about this. And once again, if y'all like to be a part of the community, please join our Reddit, please join the Discord. It'll be a link down in the description below, and I'll catch y'all on the next one, all right?